Welcome everyone, Tim Thiessen Live, broadcasting from the palatial studios of Central Valley Talk in the Tower District of Fresno. I hope everyone had a great Christmas and New Year's season. We were off for 2 weeks and we are back full blast starting the new year. Another great show lined up for you today. This show is all about hope, growth, and prosperity. Any direction our government takes us other than that is always the wrong direction, and we're going to have a chance to talk about that also on the show today. And knowledge is what empowers us to make great decisions each and every day of our life. Today's show is brought to you by the National Federation of Independent Business, the Voice of Small Business, Citizens Against Lawsuit Abuse, and Horn Photo in Fresno for all your photography needs, including photo archiving and photo restoration, including all your most up-to-the-date photography equipment that you might need. Without further ado, we're going to go to our first guest, and this is Ted Reese Sr. He is the owner of Adventure Video here in Fresno. Ted, thanks for coming in.
Thank you, Tim, for having us, and thank you for the show. Our businesses need this kind of support.
Well, I'll remember that.
Yes.
Next time I get the urge to retire, I'll say, well, Ted said you're going to have to go a little while. So anyway, tell us about your business, Ted, and what you guys actually do.
Well, Tim, I've owned Adventure Video Productions for about 17 years now. Obviously, we create television commercials, has been a big part of it. But we also do videos for websites, social media, multi-camera live coverage of sports and conferences, and live streaming to the internet for those events. And then kind of the reason that I think we just found each other, since about 2009 when the economy tanked, I saw a lot of my friends closing their businesses. I saw a lot of my friends losing their jobs, and that was painful. I mean, it set heavy with me. So we've worked really hard the last 4 or 5 years to help keep every business door open we can. That also creates jobs, by the way. Last year, the Clovis Chamber awarded us Small Business of the Year for those efforts to help keep business doors open, which that meant a lot to me. So we're always looking for new ways to help the community, the business community, which trickles down. I don't know if everyone believes in trickle-down economics, but it's true. And then, like just yesterday, we launched a new program to help people that are unemployed, business professionals who have been doing very well. They're in their 50s, 60s even, and they've been downsized and let go. So we're going to launch and give them like half rate to create a video resume to get out and stand out in front of the stacks of resumes companies get. But so that's kind of been my focus the last 5 years. How can we keep more businesses open?
Sure, excellent. That's that's a good idea to do a video resume, and then you have like say I decided that I was looking for a new job,
right?
As if I need another one besides all the 3 that I have going. So then I would just do my own resume.
Exactly.
On video.
And as I started doing more research, I found how it's being used, the number of people using it, and some of the key things with social media. You've got an HR person that's shuffling out the resumes, and people are saying, I'm not even getting callbacks half the time. So, I mean, it could be a 1-minute video you send to maybe the CEO, and maybe you know them, maybe you know of them, and you say, hey, I saw that position. Can we do coffee? I think I'm a good fit, but I'd like to find out more about it. And who is that CEO or hiring manager going to remember as they go home for dinner that day, as they drive back to the office dreading that stack of resumes? You're going to be front of mind, and they are going to take a second look. Doesn't mean you'll get the job, but you're going to get that second look.
At least get the second look, and maybe, you just increase your odds.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about. As far as, there's a tremendous amount of folks right now is what I'm hearing in my political circles and business circles, though, is a lot of people now are going into this phase called underemployment. And it's really tough, and it's there's a lot of folks now, they're working 1.5 jobs, 2 jobs, just to be able to get that 40, 50 hours a week.
Exactly, yeah.
And so, anyway, as you're working with business owners, tell me about we'll kind of go through the laundry list of complaints. We have a businessman in the studio today, and he's also running for office, so he's listening. We have his undivided attention right now.
Excellent. You kind of got the fuse going, so bear with me if I get a little excited here.
No problem. I'll have Bill shut you off when it's time.
Yep,
so.
when I'm done, just cut me off. Go to this next break. But seriously, I network, not as much the last couple of months, but I network with about 100 businesses a week. I get a lot of the barometer out there of what is working for businesses, what is not, what's making them keep their doors open, and what's making them close. It's multifaceted, too much to go into here, but a couple of the key points I'd like to bring up and have people and politicians listen to on a local, state, and federal level. I know hundreds of small businesses working out of their home that will not grow, will not put a shingle out at a storefront because they're a little afraid of the cost. But the biggest concern I'm hearing, they're paranoid of the bureaucracy. If I open a store with the licenses, the bureaucracy, what I'm going to have to go through, the level of scrutiny I'm going to be under. And so we're stopping people from really opening a business outside of their home. The other thing that's hurting our employment, I know a lot of business owners that they've worked themselves to the bone, especially this last 5 years. They're working night and day. They want to hire someone because it's killing them. But financially, they can afford that payroll. But they are afraid of having someone from the EDD walk in, look at their records, and say, I interpret that to mean that's a violation by my interpretation, $3,500 fine. Thank you, I'll go now. And you go, well, let's see, you call an attorney, spend $1,000. He says, it's going to be $5,000 to fight it. You say, okay, and a year of my time, and it's literally, oh my God, Tim, it's extortion, what's going on business to business, and that's why people are not hiring. That's why people are not opening a business. Not only are we closing businesses because of the bureaucracy, how many business owners out there are not expanding and growing because of the fear of the government oppression from hundreds of departments, 40,000 new laws just as of January 1? We need a break.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And the what happens is you start hitting, as you grow, you start hitting thresholds.
Yes.
On employees, business size, structure size, and everything else. And you were talking about the regulatory extortion. Do you know where that began? What segment of the economy? I lived in it, in agriculture.
Okay.
In my farm management and pesticide application days. That's exactly how the game is played, is they will come and they will hit you with a fine that they know you, once you do the research, that you can't afford to fight.
Exactly.
Okay, so say constantly getting little dings, back in the day, this is, 15, 25 years ago, $700, $800, $900 here and there, and to do your due diligence and to fight it.
Right.
Not to mention all the time you would spend tying up yourself on
exactly.
that. Okay. Like that, you'd be in for $2,000 to $3,000.
Yep.
So what do? The prudent thing to do as a businessman then is to write the check and move on.
Do you see a correlation from the mob in Chicago in the 30s?
Well, there's those lines can be drawn, absolutely.
Very easy lines to draw.
And a feller doesn't have to be that brilliant to figure
Nope.
that to figure that out.
I'm not brilliant, and I see it every day of my life.
Absolutely. And it just goes on and on and on. So really what we need to do is and that's where I will plug our sponsor, National Federation of Independent Business, which I'm going to hook you up with those folks.
Thank you, Tim.
They have a big presence in the Valley. 2 reps work out of Fresno, and they have a lot of resources, and they've actually been able to get some legislation through this year to soften some of the stuff, or at least get them to back off.
Good for them.
So they do lobby, and they lobby hard.
Right.
And they also pay very close attention to candidates. Also, are you listening, Gary? And so because it's all about keeping because everyone in these bureaucracies become very detached from what really happens
Right.
out here.
Right.
And then the other portion of that is, when you get into the nuts and bolts of it, is a lot of these agencies now, because of budget cutbacks and scrutiny, if they're going to keep their staffing levels where they're at,
Right.
and they're basically, what you're doing is you're paying the salary of the staffer that's writing you the ticket is what happens.
That's exactly what happens. I literally had one business tell me that he had a really nice auditor who said, I cannot walk out of here without some kind of fine. At least he was being honest. So they're going to generically interpret something to walk out with a check. And it seems like that's the goal.
Absolutely, and the big hassles are coming now through the EDD and then things revolving around payroll, and that's why you're seeing people cut back. Also, you're doing more. In my real estate life, I work as an independent contractor. I take care of all my own stuff there on that end, but a lot of business now are trying to set people up part-time as independent contractors and to avoid all of that.
Absolutely. And that just means us business owners are working harder with less people, which means there's less people employed. And it's stifling. It's not just slowing down, it's stifling people from growing, which is the opposite of what we need at this point.
Absolutely. Well, all I can say is this, is keep up the good work with what you're doing. I'll be in touch with you and get you hooked up with our reps here in Fresno.
I would like to say, if I got a quick minute, I've reached out to several groups. The Better Business Bureau is one of them, a good organization. They heard my complaints. FresnoForBiz.com. Them and several other agencies are working together to help us. Individually, I can't do it, but using people like you, like the NFIB that I'm going to get a chance to hear more about, groups like that can help do a reset, give us an opportunity to succeed and to hire people, and God help this San Joaquin Valley and the business community.
Right, and NFIB too. They also have a lot of programs available too, and they where you're going to learn how to navigate.
Right.
The minefield when you do have a hostile agency coming after you.
That's perfect. Tim, thank you for the show.
And so as they may not stop the wound, but they can at least slow down the bleeding for you.
Thank you. We
And
need
we'll
that.
go from there. Okay, Ted, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Okay, this segment was brought to you by none other than the National Federation of Independent Business, the voice of small business. We'll be right back after these messages.